Okay, let's talk about some of the metabolic training we'll be doing on the additional side of the house. I talked a little bit about zone 2 and threshold training. What is it? Well, let's start with zone 2. Zone 2 is a very low resolution, low intensity state of work. We want to be able to carry this out for no less than 40 minutes at a time. Now, I'm asking for roughly 2 hours up to 3 hours. So 2 hours on the bottom end, 3 hours on the far end of this zone 2 training. Now, if you get any more than that, awesome. I will tell you, with more zone 2 training, you get more benefit. Right? Now, that's not the same if you were to do more strength training or do more volume as it relates to high intensity training. There's quick diminishing returns when you're in the high strength state and high intensity state when you just do more and more and more of it. However, with this low level aerobic steady state work, you could do a lot more of it and get the benefits. Hey, what are the benefits? We're talking about increased fat metabolization, wicked fat metabolization as a product of this increased metabolic output. You're also getting better end capillary function. What is end capillary function? Well, that's your way your body exchanges air in and pushes gas out. So you do better at managing your gases in your body, most notably your CO2, and getting that out, bringing in fresh oxygen. Great tool there. And ultimately, you get a better oxygen uptake, or also known as your VO2 max. Now, this is one of the most critical metrics that we have for longevity as it relates to humans in terms of how long we can expect to live. Our VO2 max is a huge representation of that. So simple terms, higher your VO2 max, the longer you're likely to live. So zone 2 training, irreplaceable, outstanding. And listen, you're not going to lose any muscle mass. You're not going to fall off the wagon in terms of your intensity. All you're going to do is get these benefits. And I say you're not going to fall off the wagon, you're not going to lose muscle, because you're still going to be doing your muscle and strength training. So zone 2 training, absolutely phenomenal. Also, we have 40 minutes up to 80 minutes of threshold training. Now, what is that? Well, if we look at zone 2 at a heart rate level, we're looking at roughly 62-ish to 74-ish% of our max heart rate. When we get up into our threshold, well, we're working roughly in that 80% range. So we're around 83, 84, upwards of 88%, maybe even lower than that. Oftentimes, for most people, most of the time, you won't be above 85% for your threshold training. Now, what is threshold training? Well, threshold is really that point at which your body can no longer buffer out or clear lactic acid as quickly as it's accumulating lactic acid. So you get lactic buildup. All right, and that's when we start to see performance degradation. You start to feel that heat in the muscles, the burn in the muscles, the burn in the lungs, the fatigue in the legs. The legs start to feel like 1,000 pounds. That is lactate accumulation. Now, threshold training, what is threshold training? That's training just below that point where you reach threshold, right? So it's not reaching threshold, you're just at that threshold point. Now, we could also look at this as threshold being the speed or pace that you could run for an hour. All right, so this would be you running as hard as you can for an hour and then just being spent. All right, now we're not going to run at threshold for an hour. In fact, most of the threshold running you'll do will be in interval-based segments. And you'll maintain that for several intervals over the course of anything from 15 minutes could be a threshold session, to as long as 30 minutes. So your choice there will be able to break them apart, but you need to get no less than 40 up to 80. And anywhere in between there, you're kind of getting more bang for your buck. Over 80, considering all the other things you're doing, over 80 minutes of threshold training for you is likely going to be more than you need. So if you want more, go to zone 2, do more zone 2. That's where you'll get more gold out of your digging, all right? So those are the two types of metabolic training we're looking at. Let's talk a little bit more about the Wim Hof breathing.